Welcome to Let's Get Dumb, the podcast where I, comedian Joe Kilgallon, and comedian, what's your name? You could say it.
Jonah Jurkens.
Jonah Jurkens.
Yeah, my best friend forgot my name again.
I thought it'd be cool to throw it your way.
Yeah.
We ask dumb questions. We talk about the dumb shit that's bothering us. And today we've got a fucking amazing guest, good friend of ours, hilarious stand-up comedian, and one of Chicago's best. If you're one of Chicago's best with stand-up comedy, you're one of the country's best.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm hyping you up maybe too much now, my man.
Oh, that's perfect.
Did you almost say my black man?
No. Did it sound like I
It
almost
did
said
sound
my
like
black
that.
man?
No.
You know it sounded
Jonah's
like that.
one of those guys that'll mishear me, and always in the worst way.
Yeah.
You never mishear me in a way that makes me sound better. It's
No,
always like,
no.
Hey, did you accidentally say a sweet thing? No. Did you accidentally say something horribly racist? That's what it is. I feel like.
It felt good.
All right, we are here in the studio. Let's give a shout out to this whiskey we're about to engage in. It is called Whistle Pig Whiskey. It is Old World Rye, aged 12 years from Vermont. How about that? More than just syrup they got up that way. So they got
good whiskey.
some
Very
good
smooth.
whiskey here. Guys, I gotta launch with one of these. I had this happen to me a few days ago. Here's a dumb thing that people do. And if you're one of these people, stop it.
Joe, you never really introduced me, by the way.
Did I not say your name?
You just skipped right over me.
I think that's a dumb thing that people do.
It was great comedian. Also, by the way, this is some great whiskey.
Yeah.
Here's what's dumb happened to me recently. By the way, it's comedian Ed Towns.
Ed Towns.
You're one of the
I forgot your name,
Thank you.
to be honest. That's what it was.
Yes.
Yeah, it's great. It's also like you're good friends with Ed too. It's insane. This is insane.
To be fair though, we had a couple false starts when we were going to record. One, we didn't hit record yet. Another, I fucked up the intro. Also, Jonah, you put it all on me, man. There's going to be one episode where you got to lead off.
I don't want to do that
All right, fine.
because you know it's going to be a lot of
Comedian
takes.
Ed Towns is on the podcast.
Thank you.
Ed, so Ed, I got a question for you. Start off the bat. Okay, really?
No, go ahead, man.
Okay.
Okay, no, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. So no, this reminded me of something.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you the same question, Joe. What is your protocol for when you have to introduce, when you meet somebody you haven't seen or you don't remember their name, but you have to introduce them to your wife because you're married?
This is exactly what I was kind of going to go into.
Okay, great. Okay, cool.
Can I say what I was going to go
Yes,
into, though?
yeah,
And I was
yeah.
going to say I wish people wouldn't do this because there's no winner in this scenario. You ever run into someone you haven't seen in a long time? You kind of touched on it, I think, in the previous episode, but we didn't really get into it. I ran into someone a few days ago, and I couldn't remember their fucking name.
Oh, my God.
And as we're talking, he said, "You don't remember me, do you?" And I remember thinking to myself, like, dude, either I remember you, and I go, of course, I remember you. You're Jake Michelson. I'm making up a name, of course.
Right.
And then he's like, "Oh yeah, you do." See, now you look like a piece of shit,
Right?
Because you tried to get one over on me. But then if I really don't, so you say, "Oh, you don't remember me, do you?" And I go, "Sorry, man." Now I'm the asshole. But then you are also kind of an asshole because you're not memorable enough for me to remember who the fuck you are.
Right.
So it's not a winning situation. But this is happening.
You should be embarrassed. I
Yes.
shouldn't be embarrassed. You should be embarrassed. That's how uneventful you are. Like in my brain.
Yeah,
like,
you boring fuck.
you boring fuck. Yeah.
But why do that? When you do that, there's no winner in that scenario. But this happens. People do that. It's happened to me at least a dozen times in my life where someone stops going, "You don't remember me, do you?"
I respect it when people go, "I'm sorry, I forgot your name." Like I'm always like, "Oh, it's Jonah," and I never have a problem with it. But it's always the people. It's always the people that I actually remember their name. That's the only time that ever happens. Is that when I actually remember, because I'm so bad with names. I'm so bad with like faces. It's the one time I actually remember exactly how I met them and everything. They're like, "I'm sorry, I don't think we met." I'm so and so. I'm like, "Yeah, we have met, and I'll tell you how we met and all that shit." Go ahead, Ed.
Yeah,
Sorry.
me and Joe have the same thing we do. I don't remember someone's name, and let's just say my wife's around or whatever. I'm
think I
going
do the
to
same
introduce you to
Yes.
them,
Yeah.
and just keep it vague and say, "I'm sorry, what's your name?" This backfired on you though at House of Blues. Remember that shit?
I do remember that. Yeah.
So we're at House of Blues, and we both fucking suck at names. And Joe was like, "That's back in the good old days when me and Joe were there every week." When the show
missed
was,
that.
Hey, guys, that's
when
a
the
caddy
show
alert.
was great.
No, I'll just say this. We'll say this. The show was produced by this guy who loved us, booked us all the time.
Yes.
Then he did some shit he wasn't supposed to do. Not like felony stuff. So I don't want people to think it's like super bad, but stuff that was like, dude, that's not cool.
Right.
And then he gets out, like, you're gone. You're no longer producing the show.
It sucks when you're like associated with that, and you're like, "Well, I didn't know." Like,
Well, yeah, we
I
didn't
don't
know.
support that.
And nobody like lumped us in, but then the new bookers stopped booking. We still get booked there, but it went
I've
from
done
being
it
like,
once in the last 2 years.
really? Fuck, dude. I was there. I remember the first month back after the pandemic, I was there because it was a weekly show. I was there 3 out of the 4 Thursdays of that month. That's how frequently I was booked. And it was great because I had like the regulars loved us.
Yeah.
And then I remember the last time I did it was the first time I did it in like 6 months. And all the regulars were like, "Where the fuck have you been?" And I'm like,
Yep.
well,
No,
Yeah.
talk to these motherfuckers. We're going to
Yeah.
be demons. So Joe brings me up, like, I was hosting the show. At the end of the show, Joe comes up to me like, I cannot remember this person's name. I'm going to bring you up and introduce you. I was like, Joe, I got it. No problem. So Joe brings me up. He's like,
The confidence of that.
Hey,
You know it's going to fuck up.
hey, by the way, this is, and the girl goes like, Ed Towns. Yeah, I see him all the time. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Because I could not, as far as I know, that was the first time me meeting that girl. But,
Yeah.
I mean, that show was always packed. It was like,
I remember
Hardcore.
that too because I then later said her name wrong. I called her like Jessica or something, and she's like, "My name's Katie, you dick!" And she like yelled.
Jesus.
I was on stage.
Yeah.
and then I was like, "I know that I said it wrong on purpose to get you mad."
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, "No one believes that."
yeah.
Because like my girlfriend and I have that thing where it's like, I'll be like, oh, this is my girlfriend, so and so, and then even if they've introduced each other before, and then she knows to be like, what's your name? I'm sorry, Jonah's an asshole. I'm like, oh God, I told you. And then they say
Yeah.
name. I'm like, oh, sorry, Ed.
Yeah.
Is Ed.
Yep.
But that's actually good when they do that.
Yeah.
I love that. They're like,
I love when
sorry,
they're
he's
like-
so rude.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
you're
yeah.
like,
Giving me a little shit and it's cool.
yeah, yeah.
And then it kind of takes pressure away. The best story I've heard about that is not Ed Norton, Sam Norton, a comedian Sam Norton who lives in Ed Norton, my close
good
personal friend Ed Norton.
Ed Norton.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a story. Yeah, this is a story about Fight Club. So he is on. Do you know the story?
No.
He was on stage. He's performing for Louis Anderson, and he's hosting. He's new at comedy. I'm sure he's fine that I'm telling the story. And he is about to introduce Louis Anderson, and the name slips out of his brain, and he doesn't know what to do. But he knows all the credits. So he's like, he looks at the audience, and he forgets his name, and he goes, "You know what? I didn't come here for him. You guys came here for him. So on the count of 3, why don't you say his name for me?" So he goes, "Who do we come here for? 1, 2, 3." And then the crowd goes, Louis. He goes, Louis Anderson. Louis Anderson is here. Like he kind of knew it. And I'm like, the genius to think about that in a split second is the worst. Because I've introduced, I worked with Tommy John again. I was hosting for him, and I kept calling him Johnny Tom again when I would introduce him, and it was just like, I'm a fucking moron. It's like, don't give me.
I fucked up last Friday. Laugh Factory. I'm Chris Rock's brother's closing it out. Who you think that is?
Tony Rock.
Tony Rock.
No, Jordan Rock.
Yeah.
His younger brother, Jordan Rock, is closing out. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. So he's the last comic up. Of course, it's the midnight show, so I've been drinking for a while.
Right.
I get up with the most confidence. All right, you ready for your closer? You see them here, Ladies and gentlemen, motherfucking Tony Rock, everybody. I'm like clapping. He's standing beside the stage.
you know
just
he's used to that, too.
Staring at me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the problem? So I go up to him, like, you said Tony Rock. I thought I said Jordan Rock 100%. And
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck. And I think he was doing comedy because, what you would do regularly is go shit on the host. Motherfucker, I'm not Tony Rock. I'm Jordan Rock. All this other shit, right? But he
Right.
just stood at the edge of the stage. So I went back on stage, grabbed the mic. I said, I'm sorry, Jordan Rock.
Yeah.
Now,
Oof.
I'm thinking there might be some people in the audience that actually know who Tony Rock is.
Right.
Yeah, he's had
Yeah,
a
he's
good
He's,
great.
career.
he's
Yeah,
on
yeah.
TV and shit like that. Like, oh shit, Tony Rock.
yeah, yeah.
And,
And they're like,
I
who the fuck
walk
is
off
this?
stage
Yeah.
and get back on. I'm sorry, Jordan Rock. Like, who? Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
I don't have anything dumb like that because I'm a professional.
Oh my god! When was the last show you hosted, Joe? By the way, showcase show, not fucking
Showcase.
feature headliner, because that's easy to do.
Well, I did a theater where I had to bring up Scott Cease, who's a really funny dude.
one
He's a
comic.
Cocaine Bear. The last showcase, Laugh Factory, I'll host sometimes. They'll have me, bring people up on a Saturday night every now and then. But no, the funniest, this is someone else's story. I can't remember the comic, but I worked the Improv Comedy Club, and they told me about the weekend before the MC, Hal Sparks, was the comedian headlining.
yeah.
And he was on that show Queer as Folk.
Yeah.
But the guy who introduced him was like, from the show Queer as Fuck. And they were like, that's not a show. He just straight up said the words queer as fuck.
Yeah.
Although that might have had a bigger audience than Queer as Folk.
Yeah, I did. I was hosting a show, and they added a very funny comedian, Amy Shanker, out of New York, who's a very close friend of mine.
Love Amy.
Yeah.
Love Amy. Right? And then I have a
By
thing.
the way, Joe, we all know fucking Amy. All right?
Yeah,
Well,
but
the audience doesn't.
know.
This isn't just the three of us talking.
Yeah, you see, you're in your bubble, and you don't understand that. You checking your watch? What's going on here?
Nice. Take it off.
Okay, no,
Leave it on
No,
and
leave it on.
vibrate. It's fine.
So I have a thing if I'm hosting, I have to write everybody's name on my hand just so I have it there, right? Even if it's like my good close friends, I still have to write it on there. It's just like a weird tick that I have. And I was about to write it on my hand, and I'm like, Amy's like a really close friend of mine. I'm like, there's no problem here, right?
Yeah.
And I go up, and then I'm like, all right, thank you, everybody. Give it up for the last person. Like, yeah, your headliner coming up. I do all the fucking bullshit. And I go, we have a very special guest from New York, a very close friend of mine, one of my best friends. You're gonna love her. And then I go, And then she's mouthing Amy Shinker. And then I blind and I go, I can't see you. I can't see you. I know that you're mouthing something, but I can't see it. And then she's like, just fucking introduce me. And I can't introduce you. I don't know your name. This conversation's happening on stage. And then she kind of comes out, and then it's embarrassing saying like one of my close friends, and then you can't remember their name. It's
I did
stupid.
that to Kelly Howard Friday too. Friday.
Oh, I fucked up her intro.
I was like,
last
oh,
week.
she's gonna think this is personal.
Yeah.
This nigga ain't shit. All this other shit, but like,
I thought that too.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it when people have a big intro, though. I think the really great comedians. So people watching, when you go see an awesome comedian, if they're going too crazy with their intros, like if the person who's bringing them up is listing 6 things, there's an insecurity there.
Yeah.
Because the best comedians I've worked with, they'll give you a couple things. They'll be like, mention this and this.
Yeah.
Right? Because the really great comedians don't give a fuck because they know the intro doesn't matter as much as their performance. Performance matters. The worst someone ever gave me, and this was like 8 years ago now, the dude said, hey, tell them I've been on Comedy Central, tell them I've been on TBS, and tell them I'm in talks with SNL. And I'm like,
In talks.
in talks?
Yeah.
What, you took a meeting? You emailed them?
Yeah.
That
had
makes you
somebody-
sound like a fucking loser.
Yeah.
man.
I had somebody say, hey, say that I auditioned for The Daily Show. And I was like, what?
Probably the same guy.
Yeah.
You're probably talking
yeah,
about the same fucking
yeah,
dude.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. And then I remember then I brought Dana Carvey on stage, and I remember being like, do you want me to say anything? He's like, no, it's fine.
He's like, I'm fucking Dana
I'm
Carvey.
fucking Dana
Like,
Carvey.
Just say my name.
He didn't say that.
There was
no.
one comic
goes,
we
"Say
had
my name, say
in,
my name."
in Chicago recently that didn't have much of an intro, but then just proceeded to pawn his fucking book collection off for 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah. There wasn't a book collection. He
was
bought
at
those
that
books
show.
that day. Yeah, we were all
Yeah.
at that show.
Yeah.
Big name. We won't
Won't
we'll
drop
just say
his name.
Initials JG. That's the most we
Yeah.
could
Yeah,
say.
JG.
Hey, I like the guy. He was really cool
Yeah.
with me. So this isn't a knock, but like it was a
he's a
weird
very
thing
nice
he
guy.
tried. Very
Yeah.
nice guy. It was a weird thing he tried though. And he basically just had the audience come up and he tried to make fun of each book and then he gave the books away.
He more was just like, oh, this author's good. Like they also but you'll like it.
Yeah, he didn't go
then-
for jokes.
Well, here's the thing. Is like,
There's-
here's the thing. He was fucking with one guy the whole time. This is my favorite thing. He's fucking with one guy the whole time.
That was that guy. So the guy gets on stage.
Well, no,
The
wait.
guy that he's
So
fucking with.
he's fucking with the
Yeah.
guy the whole time, right? And he's like, "You're gonna go last." And I'm like, "This guy is setting up the setup of all setups. This is gonna be amazing."
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, "All right, your turn." And he comes up and goes, "Pick a book." And I'm like, "This is gonna be like a magic trick. This is crazy." And then he like takes the book out and he goes, "Oh yeah, this is I know this guy. It's a really good book. You'll
Good
enjoy
author.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great."
Mm-hmm.
All right,
That was it.
He walks off and I was like, "God damn it, that was like 40 minutes of."
By the way, I've worked with a lot of we all worked with a lot of like famous people and shit like that. I never seen when JG got on stage. I never seen an audience member try to like stick his hand out for a handshake.
Yeah.
That was so weird. So
Yeah,
when he got on
the guy
stage,
wanted
a
to
guy
shake
stood
his
up
hand.
and put his hand out. I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
And another guy said, "Holy shit, really?"
Yeah.
When he got his name introduced because it was this was really magical about stand-up comedy, and I think why New York in particular people go crazy for because you don't know who's gonna pop in.
Right.
Yeah.
The pop in is such a ballsy move. When I become super famous, I'm gonna pop in all the time. Because the audience reaction of being like, "Holy fuck, they're
Yeah.
here!"
Yeah.
We thought this was a great show, and now this comic's popping in at the end. Like we've done shows where like Hannibal Buress has popped in. And
Yeah.
I remember when Bobby Kelly popped in at CSK once. It was insane.
Hassaj
Mulaney,
from the Daily Show, the Indian dude, gorgeous Indian dude. Come on,
I
nah.
Here's the thing.
Hassan.
I don't want
Hassan?
to fuck up the pronunciation. I'll let you do
Okay,
that.
Hassan, I could do that because like you can't do black on
Yeah.
brown crime. It doesn't
Sure,
exist.
yeah.
Hassan Maj.
I think it exists. Yeah.
But the Daily Show, like people don't know this. The Daily Show was in Chicago for like a week or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
That dude was at. I don't know how he did this. He was at every fucking
Yeah.
showcase. I'm talking the showcases that had like 10 people in it.
Yeah.
Like 10 audience members in it. I'm like, this guy.
Michael Costa too. Was
Yeah,
Costa,
Michael Costa was there too.
Costa.
Michael Costa, that was my
Great guy.
That was my
Great
favorite. That was my favorite one. So Michael Costa, who was a tennis player,
Yeah. He's on the Daily Show currently. He's amazing.
Yeah.
we were on a Laugh Factory together when he was there in town, and he did a risky joke, kind of risky, and immediately it was one girl stood up, and by her haircut, I knew she was upset. You know what I'm saying?
I know the joke you're
you know what I mean?
talking about. Yeah,
you
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I'm not being racist. You guys know exactly what fucking haircut I'm talking about. So he's working on shit for This Week at the Cellar. Like This Week at the Cellar is a show about. It's a Comedy Central show about. About current events, things that happened there. So he's trying to work out the material to kind of figure out what he's working out shit. Comics know that. That happens a lot of times. You see a famous comic come in, if you're an audience member and they're not that funny, he's like, oh, this guy, they're working on new shit. That's them, their gym.
Yeah.
So he's working on new shit, and the girl gets up, storms out the room, right?
Yeah.
And then he says a comment like, okay, I guess that one needs some more work, or you guys just butt hurt. And the girl comes back in the room and under her breath goes, yeah, fuck you. And in my head, I'm like, what good did that do for anybody? Like no one heard that shit. Right. I only heard it because I was in the back of the room and you kind of whispered it. It was such the most caring, respectful thing I've ever seen in my life. Because she didn't scream fuck you so you could hear it. She said it underneath her breath just to get it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like she almost like squeezed it out. Like, fuck you. And I'm like, all right, whatever that did.
What's the dumbest thing you've seen
an audience member do?
Get mad at. Or get mad at.
Yeah,
or like
sure.
or do. Yeah.
I mean,
it's insane.
I got a lot of them.
I'll lead off with one.
Go ahead.
Give you time to think. Here's the dumbest thing an audience member's done to me over the last, was like 3 months ago. You two will know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
It was at the show Comedians You Should Know, which has a New York and an LA branch. It's one of the best independent shows in America.
Are you associated with that show?
I am a little bit.
Oh,
and
how do you get booked on a show?
I gotta suck a lot of D and lick a lot of pee. So I wasn't there at the beginning of the show. I show up halfway, and the comedian who's on stage, I come in halfway into her set. I then get, announced, right? I'm walking on stage. Right as I'm taking the microphone out of the stand, a woman kind of like a little bit toward the back audibly yells out, "Great, another straight white guy." Which I remember being like, in my head being like, oh, you could tell I'm straight. That's right. What's up? No, I'm joking. But like, I remember immediately because it was such a fucked
It
up
would have been
thing.
a great move. Oh, straight. You just booed a guy in front of her just to make him mad.
Yeah.
Which I can see Joe doing some shit like that. Was like, oh, I'm straight. All right. Well, how about this? Oh, you dumb bitch. You're wrong.
so,
Just slapping against his face.
For me, if I went on stage, somebody like, oh, great, another white guy. Another white guy. Not positive yet.
Bi? Are you? What are you?
Yeah.
That'd be fucked up if someone's like, oh, you think I'm straight? Just to make you look dumb, I'm gonna do a gay thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just take the mic out of the stand, and she's like, "Oh, great, another straight white guy."
It's like, where do you go from there?
Where do I go from there? It was fucked up because in my head, I'm like, all right, if I go really hard at her, it makes it seem like I'm like, how dare you fucking talk to a white man like this?
Yeah.
But then if I go too soft, the audience is like, oh, this guy's a fucking bitch. He's just gonna let her fucking dictate his set.
Yeah.
Yell that dumb shit out. And it was such a fucked up thing too, because I'm like, I didn't even say a joke yet.
Yeah.
I didn't even say anything. I could have been your favorite comedian in the world.
Yeah.
But immediately you're judging me based on my skin tone. Little fucking ironic, right? And I was later. I started rough because it was such a weird thing, and I had to try to get into it with her. I then won the audience over a little bit. But like as comedians, we hold grudges a little bit.
Oh,
you ever have that where you still think you're still thinking about that piece of shit who tried to ruin you?
I'm going through 15 scenarios in my brain right now.
I got one. Like you know what's crazy
Well,
about
hold on,
me?
I'm not finished that. Hold on,
Yeah,
sorry.
Okay, sorry.
Ed,
So I'm rolling a little
it's
bit
our
here.
podcast.
I'm just a guest. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
you're just a guest, yeah.
Well, I know the
This isn't
audience
about
is
you.
thinking
This is about us.
You need me to make the better?
Yeah.
Anything like that,
You're
massa?
here to support us.
My massa.
Okay, well, you
want-
took that into a way that I didn't want
bring
that to happen.
supper to you, huh? How about I refresh your drink again?
Actually, could you get me another drink?
yes to all that. No, but like I want to finish because the viewers are probably wondering how the rest of it went down. So what happened was I'm starting to roll. I got the audience back on my side. Then my brain, though, I could have just hunkered down and stayed there, but my brain still had to throw something out there. I'm like, oh, see, it's pretty good when I don't have a dumb bitch yelling something stupid. And normally I don't really go that personal with it, or I don't, there's certain words you can't say anymore. You can't call women bitches or a bitch, right?
Yeah, you can.
And yeah,
I
so I
can't.
said that, and she then yelled something back. She goes, hey, I might be a bitch, but I'm not dumb.
Yeah.
And then I responded by saying, you don't have to be a cunt about it.
Yeah.
We're all
I
at that
remember being
show, and it was the biggest
I
laugh
was,
he got.
yeah, I was there,
yeah.
I was there too. I had that reaction where you're like, oh my God, how did he do that? Like, where you're just like, oh my God.
Felt pretty good.
Crazy.
Everything you said is what I get annoyed about. Like, honestly, I get more annoyed. I get annoyed with my shit too, but like when white comics don't get the leash that you give everyone else. All right, how can I say this without getting canceled by my own people? Like, so there was a
We'll
comic.
edit around it.
There's a comic. No. Fuck editing. This is all good. There was a comic, Nate Burrows. I'm gonna say his name because he had a great joke where he gets on stage and then he says he leads with something like the whole joke was how the South Side calls the police for completely different reasons than the North Side.
Oh, yeah.
and like
Those
how
jokes,
they're like
yeah.
this is Karen's problem while this is this
Yeah.
problem. But he starts off the joke like I like the South Side because they got real issues. And then I'm in the balcony, it's Laugh Factory, and I hear a girl go, bullshit, bullshit. I'm like, wait a minute. You didn't even let this guy even remotely get into you don't even know where the fuck this is going.
Right.
So it throws he was killing, he was rolling at the time, and that kind of threw him off a little bit for the rest of the set. Knowingly, he's a white dude, some black woman's yelling bullshit at you, that's going to fuck you up. I'm sorry, white people don't have that confidence. Well, some of them do, but like, you know, most of them don't when a white or black woman's calling them bullshit.
I know black guys who don't have the confidence to go after a black woman when she's yelling shit.
Nah. Yeah, it's the backwards.
That's a compliment to
It's
black
oppression.
women, really.
It's oppression shame. Like the more person you're oppressed with, you can't be like, okay, let me tell you what's right about the world. You know, I was so annoyed. I found the girl after the show and I was drunk. I'm like, you didn't even let the guy stay. He's like, no, I heard what he said. It's like, no, I was sitting up in the fucking balcony next to you. He said I was working the 7 o'clock show. It went fine. The 9 o'clock show you were at, you heard Southside and the white guy saying, and you called bullshit. He didn't even finish the fucking joke. You didn't even know where it fucking goes.
Yeah.
It's like, you gotta do it nowhere. No, because he bailed out and you're fucking lying to me, so I can't even talk to you anymore. Like,
yeah.
How good did that feel?
Yeah. Ooh.
Right? Okay, so this is what I
Dig her
want
a
to talk to you
little bit,
about.
huh?
Right,
Like,
right. Yes.
Isn't it great when you're just like, I fucking murdered that one. I like where you're like, oh my God, I said the right thing. I called somebody out. I was a fucking man about it. And like, I get like really like, oh my God, I was such a man about it. So I was at Royal Rumble.
Hey, real quick, hold on. Let me finish the story.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No.
One quick
all gonna do it
point.
once we
My
talk.
wife is white and she was with me.
Your wife is white?
She's a white wife. You know?
Okay.
She's a white wife.
Yeah.
The moment I started confronting that black girl, she righteously bolted. Just like I was like, after I was done talking to her, I was like, "Where the fuck does this bitch go?" She's like in the bathroom in the stall, like this nigga's gonna die on his own. Click, click.
Like,
And then your white wife was like high five, and you're like, no.
No, you don't deserve this.
Yeah. So I went to the Royal Rumble this
Wait a
year.
minute. The premise. We talked about this off mic. Sorry, like this is a problem with we did a podcast kind of before the podcast. We talked for like 2 hours straight. I don't know why we didn't come down here, and we were talking about the one moment because comics, besides Joe, most of us are kind of pussies.
Yeah.
And there's moments where we do some shit. We're like, oh fuck, I think I have a dick.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, for the lack of being sexist, man, you're like, oh, I stood up for myself and did what was right. This is where Jonah's story is coming in.
Okay, but before that, let's ask the question. This is a question we've been asking a lot. Okay, if you were a woman, what type of vagina would you have?
It would be an Audi.
You think it'd be Audi?
Because I would be such a hoe bag.
You think so?
I mean,
if you all beat up?
God bless women who aren't hoes because that's a power to me. Because, I mean, just like, I think every woman on average that has to leave the house gets probably 6 or 7 dicks thrown at them per day.
That's a low number.
That's a low. It's being generous, you
Right.
know. 6 or 7.
That's why it doesn't make any sense that women don't catcall. Because, like...
They don't have to.
But the thing is, like, but if you're like, if you want to, because guys are pussies, right? So it's like, just be like, hey, you're hot, fuck me, like, or whatever, or however you want to do it.
Some women do that.
Some women do that.
Yeah.
And guess what? They're getting what they want.
Yeah, but a lot of times those women do that, and I've had these females talk to me about that, where they're like, sometimes I'll tell those guys straight up, I want to fuck you.
Yeah.
And the guys will pussy out sometimes.
Of course.
Because they're intimidated. They're like, oh,
yeah.
I don't know what to do next.
Oh, that's me. I would pussy out.
Or,
100%.
you know, or it's in their head like, okay, I did little to no work to get this. And she just like a paper boy just throwing her pussy door to door in a bicycle. Just like
I like the image of a vagina just
throw it out.
extra,
does it break a window?
Eat all about it. You know what I'm saying?
Eat all about it. Oh my God, you're so much funnier in person than on stage.
Oh yeah, you didn't know that?
Crazy.
So what happened at the Royal Rumble?
Okay, so I was at the Royal Rumble. I turned 40. I was like, I'm gonna spend a lot of money on these tickets for myself because that was like, I always wanted to like sit front row, right? So I sit front row, and you get a commemorative chair, right? And
So wait, you actually take the chair with you?
Yeah, it's cool.
that you take the chair with.
I thought they were stealing it the whole time.
No,
I'm on
people
TikTok.
No, you
They-
get a
they-
chair.
you get
Yeah.
to take it.
So,
Damn.
then, okay, so they have a service where they'll email.
Wait a minute.
They're not going to email
Hey,
your chair. Where they
Jonah,
send you your
Jonah,
chair.
I'm sorry. I just you can say it's off camera. You can say it on camera.
Yeah.
Because they give you a chair, and I know how much a Coke costs there. How much do those tickets run you?
I'll give you two.
Yes. How much were the Royal Rumble tickets?
Okay, I'll give
Because
you.
if a Coca-Cola is $27 for a 16 ounce, they're giving you a fucking whole chair.
I'll give you. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you. You get 2 guesses, and I'm gonna say over under.
Okay, 2,400.
Over.
I'm gonna go 3,600 for the pair.
Over. That's it.
3,600 for the pair.
No, for the pair. Oh, over. But
Oh, yeah,
he said
yeah,
2,400
yeah. Oh,
for
he's
each one.
2,400 for each
now-
one.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's how
3,600.
dumb we are. He goes 2,400 for each one. He goes, you know what? I'm gonna go 3,600 for each pair. And it's like, it's like
What
you're
is
turning
that?
red.
Hey,
That's what
I'm
dumb.
so stupid.
Kilgallon's a stay-at-home dad, so you know his kids are going to be probably dumb.
Yeah.
You have to do math.
Yeah.
on it.
Oh, hey, fuck you. I'm a stay-at-home dad. I'm not homeschooling them though. It's a little
I
different
hope not.
there.
Thank God. Wait for the
I'm
mic.
actually
Oh, you
pretty
guys
good
said
at
think
math.
at
I'm
the same
just
time. That was
tired.
cute. Group mind.
Group mind. There
Group
we
mind.
go. There we go.
Yeah.
Those are dangerous, by the way. Group minds.
Yeah.
So what would just tell us the number? Or are you too
I'm not.
embarrassed?
No, I'm
Oh,
not
we had the
embarrassed. I
gas.
just don't want to brag.
Well, thanks for providing value to our listeners who might one day want to save up to go to the Royal.
Okay,
Rumble.
so I'll tell you
Just
this.
fucking tell
So
it.
I was researching the tickets, and the problem is, I was on a lottery to buy tickets, and this is how dumb I am. This is actually how dumb I am. I was on lottery to buy tickets, and I was walking in to get my haircut when that happened, and I missed my lottery. So when I came out, I got back in it, and I could only get like row 8, which were $700 each. So I bought those tickets, and I'm like, I want to resell these things at fucking $3,500, right? And I'm gonna make my money back. Because then
Wait, does row 8 get chairs?
yes,
I think
row
the
8 got
front
shares.
12.
And it was
rows or something.
$700?
$700. That's it, each ticket.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not bad. Okay.
Right, because they're not resale
so-
tickets.
so
So the resale tickets, they go.
That's
they
what it
fuck
is.
up.
So
right,
actually, Royal Rumble is quite affordable if you are,
quick on it.
Quick
Good
on it.
Yes, and then
and not completely, bro. I know $700
Right.
sounds like, but it's the fucking Royal
and
Rumble.
then
It's-
everyone started reselling the
courtside.
tickets. Because bots buy all that shit up. It's insane. It's like
Yeah.
a racket. And then I was like, okay, there's this thing called On Location. We're sponsored by On Location. If you go to onlocation.com/ you might get dumb, and you enter you might get dumb, you're not going to get % off.
It's called Let's Get Dumb, by the
Let's
way.
Get Dumb,
The name
Let's
of the podcast. Fucking
And I'm also looking at a camera that's not faced at me.
yeah, that's the camera.
Just so you
And
know.
we're not sponsored by him. So
Guess what? One of us worked on a TV show for a couple seasons, and it's the fucking idiot.
yeah, you were a producer, whatever. Go
Yeah.
on.
On what? Yeah.
Carbon air
what-
effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's on an NDA. I can't talk about it, but I'll talk about it later. So then there's On Location, and On Location is like you get priority pass. On Location. And you get access. They have an event for you the night before. They have an event for you during the day where you drink for free, and then you get like photo ops and all this shit, right? And those tickets were. Do you really want to find out how much it was?
Yes, because
Yes.
I think the listeners will find out. Because what if we've got
Those-
some young wrestling fans who are like, I can save up
and
one
that's
day.
and that's row 1, kind of in the middle. Like
You were right
where
behind the announcers, right?
No, I was where the camera's shooting.
Oh,
We're off to the right.
Because your
Yeah.
girlfriend, who's awesome, by the way,
Yeah.
got a lot of camera time.
Yeah, she got a lot.
got a lot
If
of
you're a normal looking person at a wrestling show when there's a lot of smelly, good looking people there, you're gonna be on camera. And you're a girl, you're on camera a lot.
They said hard camera on her.
Yeah, just keep
immediately.
it. Keep it.
Yeah.
I like the cameraman being like, no,
Don't
no,
pan
no,
anywhere
God,
else.
yeah, thank God, yeah.
One guy got paid overtime just to keep
Right.
not even move the camera. Just put
Yeah.
it stationary.
Yeah, and then it's $7,500 per ticket
Damn.
for this stuff.
1,500 total.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's not 1,500. It's 15,000. So
So bad.
Jesus Christ, bad at this.
his
Joe.
dad brain couldn't even fucking
Oh, he
fathom
said,
it.
"Damn."
I sleep 5 hours a night. Come on.
Well, mind you, this is my 40th birthday.
Yeah,
Like, this is what I want to do. Like, always wanted to do
Oh,
this.
40th birthday. So you were born in 1960?
83.
I know, I'm doing the bad math thing.
So, so you get a chair. Anyway, so the point is like I was like, I'm gonna sell these tickets. I'm gonna make back one ticket, right? Hopefully, and because I put each ticket at $3,500, not $1,500. I put each ticket $1,500 because that's how much they were selling. I thought. Guess what? Never sold the goddamn tickets. I wasted $1,400 on those tickets because
Wait, you never sold the tickets?
I never sold the 2 tickets that I bought in the first place.
How is that even possible?
I know. And I kept trying to lower and lower and lower because Ticketmaster, because they're assholes, they cut off, you can't bring it below this number. And that number was, I think it was 1,500. So I couldn't bring it below 1,500 on Ticketmaster to resell. So then they fucked me over kind of. And then I basically wasted that money. And I got,
Who sat in those seats?
nobody did.
So there's just 2 empty seats.
Just 2 empty seats.
And you couldn't give them away if you wanted to. They had you locked in at that price.
I locked it. Yeah.
That's fucked.
I was
Wait a
so
minute.
pissed.
So you
Fuck
couldn't
tickets.
use,
It's one of
you
those
couldn't use, like,
moments.
You couldn't use StubHub or anything like that?
No, and I put them on, and then I thought about that, and I put it on StubHub, but I put it on too late. And I was trying to be competitive with my pricing, but I still wanted to try to make my money back. Because the whole point, I was like, this will pay for this thing, right? Because I'm like, I ate into my savings.
Well,
for
I mean,
this.
obviously, though, but not. I'm trying to make you feel better. If you spend 15,000 on, you got it, Joe?
I got it.
You got the numbers? How many zeros is that?
3.
All right, good. Make sure you're on board. If you spend 15,000 on a ticket, what's 1,400 really? You know,
Right, it's true, but like also I was hoping
I'm talking.
I was hoping
I have your bank account.
Well,
It's
I was trying to make
people.
well, I was trying to make back because I bought those tickets assuming that I would make back half from my other because I was like, this is a great investment deal. I'm a smart.
You know,
person in the world.
financially, the equivalent for me was I was doing Valentine's Day dinner.
You're
And
saying that wrong. It's Valentine's Day.
Shut the fuck up. Go ahead. Sorry.
Anyway.
It's a running gag in every episode.
I did duck breast and I wanted duck confit. The duck confit was like, I want to say it was like $40 or whatever, and the duck breast was 20 each. I was like, maybe I should do the duck breast. Like, well, I mean,
get that duck titty.
Yeah, get that duck
I was
titty.
like, you know what? Let me do both because why not? It's Valentine's Day. That was my equivalent to your $15,000.
This is I mean, it's a 40-year-old. Like, this is what I want to do. Like, always want to do this. Like, not to get whatever. It's like that was one thing. My mom would buy me that pay-per-view every year. So like, it reminds me of my mom. My mom passed away a few years ago. So it's like,
No, it's
it was
sweet.
like that,
Sweet
right? But the point is, so you get a chair, right? And by the way, don't do it on location. It was bullshit. Get a chair, right? And we're like, oh, you can. There's a service where they'll send it to you for like $40, right? And when we looked it up, you can these chairs sell for like $100. So I'm like, that's not really worth it.
They sell for $100?
Yeah, $150 on eBay.
I went to
Yeah.
Money in the Bank. Paid nothing because I know the right people. So the Money in the Bank
Jesus
WWE
Christ,
pay-per-view.
Joe.
Yeah, but where were your seats?
I sat second row, right behind Billy Corgan.
Are you,
that's
hey,
pretty
by the
sweet.
way,
That's pretty
are
awesome.
you sure it was second row, not 25th?
I know the math of the second row versus 20.
Yeah, right.
And
Man,
when
you could have sold those tickets for over $200.
I'm sure. So we were walking out, and I'm holding the Money in the Bank chair.
Yeah.
And this is when CM Punk beat Cena. So this is a big
Oh, wow,
event,
that's a
right?
big-
Wait
Yeah.
a minute.
Yeah.
Where's that chair at now?
I have a sweet story about that.
All right,
that I'll
okay,
tell
sorry.
later.
I'm
But
jumping ahead. Go ahead.
So I had the chair, and as I'm walking out, people were like, "I'll give you 200 cash right now. I'll give you 100
Yeah,
cash right
yeah,
now."
yeah.
And I was like,
Bail
"No,
out.
no, no,
Yep.
no, I
Yeah.
want to keep it," because then I thought, "Oh, I can sell this a couple years from now down the
Right.
road or whatever." And I liked it. It was a
Yeah.
nice little keepsake and all that. But like, so you were saying, like, people will
They take
give you-
them.
So
I'm
what?
sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, people.
That was
I'm
my
sorry.
thing.
Yeah, people resell them, right? And that's kind of the point of getting that, right? And also, it's like it's a keepsake, whatever. And so my girlfriend and I were sitting there, and this is in San Antonio. We're in Chicago. I was like, I don't want to like deal with it. I'm like, do you want to keep the chairs? And she was like, I don't think it's really worth it. And I'm like, that's fine. And then this kid, the small kid, comes up and he goes, hey, are you gonna use your chair? And we were like, no. He's like, do you mind if I take it? And I was like, of course, dude. Like, have it. It's fine. And he took the chair, and then this fucking bitch comes up and takes her chair without asking, and then fucking turns around and beelines it just straight. And I'm like, did she ask you to take that chair? And my girlfriend's like, no. And I was like, fuck that. And I followed her, and I kept like tapping her on her shoulder like this. She wouldn't look over, right? And I was like, excuse me, like following her. And then she looks over, and she pretends to not speak English. And then her boyfriend's like, we have a problem here? And I go, yeah, we have a fucking problem. I'm like, who is this? And he's like, this is my girlfriend. She doesn't speak English. I'm like, she doesn't speak English, but you do. And then
Well, I could have hired her.
right.
That's-
But the
look,
point is, I was like, it seemed kind of convenient because
not
she's
speaking.
stealing chairs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
You're gonna
she's
steal-
stealing chairs.
Maybe she has a green card contract
Right.
to steal so many wrestling
And
chairs.
I go.
I'm a progressive guy, but if you're gonna steal, know the fucking language.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Can you read this
And then
shit?
he goes, what's the problem? I go, your girlfriend took our chair without asking. And then he was like, do you want your chair back? And I go, no. And then he goes, what do you want? I go, I want you to ask me, can I have this chair? And he goes, that's what you want? I go, that's what I fucking want. And he looks at me and he goes, can I have the chair? And I go, you absolutely can. And I walked away, and I was like, oh my God, I was such a man. I was such a man right there. I was such a man. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Ah, ah. I go,
All right.
my girlfriend's Laura. I'm like, Laura, did you just hear what I just did? Ah, ah, oh my God. Oh my God. My heart hurts.
Dude, it would have been so
And
much
I brought it up to
cooler.
her 5 times that night, being like, if your fucking vagina is not wet right now, I swear to God.
I gotta tell you, I know what you're saying.
No, I would've been
if
like,
you
dude,
just said no.
If you would have, well, no, it would have been.
And
I
you
actually
took the chair by spite.
No, I actually liked that he was like, absolutely. I wish you would have walked back and said to your girlfriend, get in the car. We're fucking tonight.
I know,
Like,
I know. I was too busy being like, oh my God, I was such a man.
That's a fucking adrenaline rush, man.
Yeah,
It's an
yeah,
adrenaline
yeah,
rush.
yeah.
I would share, you guys each shared your story of being a badass. I would share one of mine, but I have so many, it's really hard to choose from.
You know what? I want to say he's fucking full of shit, but he's not. It's kind of annoying that he's not even remotely over exaggerating what he's saying right now.
Because he's been in a lot. I have never really been in a fight. He's been in a lot of fights.
He's been in a lot of fights.
Oh, too
matter
many.
of fact, one of the first times I met Joe, I thought he was gonna punch me in the face.
Oh, you could tell this. Real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah. It was back in the old Whip Theater days. Rest in peace. It caught on fire by
Rest in
accident.
pieces.
This was a theater in
so-
Chicago that
so-
burned down, and I know it had legitly burned down. I'm still friends with the owner. I haven't talked to him in a while, though, unfortunately. A good dude. I miss you, Tony. But when it burned
He's
down.
not dead.
He's not dead.
Okay.
But when the theater burned down, it was funny that the theater burns down and immediately everyone's like, is this insurance? Is this an insurance
Yeah.
thing? Because like no one believed
Financially, it
it.
wasn't doing great.
It wasn't
doing great.
Oh, anyway, it was at the old theater.
So it was old theater. So it wasn't doing great. You know it wasn't doing great because he went to Joe to book the Saturday night show.
But it started to turn around under me. It actually did.
So Joe would run the Saturday night shows, and because I was a regular there, I made the money. I make money at open mics. I don't know what it is, but I make money for them at the open mics. So Joe see me at the open mic. He books me on the show. One of the first times I ever really met Joe. We always crossed paths, but never met each other. Tony Valle's hosting. I think I'm featuring your headline, and I don't know what the case is. Joe has this thing where if something goes wrong, because you had a good set, but something in that set didn't go right. It was something that no one else noticed but you. So Joe gets off stage. The host gets on stage and does another joke, which is kind of like
It's a no-no.
It's a no-no.
It's like a comedy. There's like certain rules.
It's a no-no. But Joe, the no-no is after the guy gets off stage, like, hey man, just for the record, don't tell another joke when like I'm the last comic. You know, I get it, whatever. Joe didn't handle it that way. He was fucking heated. He's like, why the fuck is this guy telling jokes? I'm like, Joe, like, I try to crack some joke to him. He was like, Ed, you're a cool guy. I kind of know you a little bit, but you don't know me that well to talk to me that way. And I'm like, what the fuck? Yes.
This is when Joe's having a lot of breakdowns.
I was
too.
like, yo. Because I was trying to tell a joke like to crack the fucking tension that he had. And he was like, you don't know me that way. Don't fucking talk. And he's fucking left. I haven't seen him for like 3 months after that.
I don't know
If you said that to me, and the second you walked away, I'm like, oh my God, that's a real man right there.
No, that's what it was. Because I'm used to dealing with pussy. Like, I'm sorry, comics, we're all pussies. I have not met, like, I'm used, like me, I don't fight, but I'm used to being like the alpha male in my group, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And then I'll run into Joe, who's a regular alpha male down the street, like softball, recreational beer league alpha male. And I walk into that, like being all cocky and shit. And he says that shit's like, no, there's men, and then there's men. And Joe was that fucking guy.
I mean, I'll take a lot of that as a compliment, even though I was a dick.
You know,
I don't have moments like that anymore, though. I was a nude. I had a 4-month-old kid. I was fucking sleep deprived.
Yeah.
I love being a dad, but like, there's a transition. And ask any new dad, there's a transition where your mind just isn't right. So I was having a lot of that. I was having sets that were like, most people are like, I don't get it. You were killing. One little thing happened, and you just lost your shit.
My God.
I don't know what it was, but. I want to make it clear though, because a lot of people have said this to me. They're like, "Oh yeah, you're fucking alpha," and I'm like, "It's not a choice. You just are who you are." Like I'm just confrontational by nature. I don't think like I'll show him. I just react how I react.
Right.
That's.
I knew that you were alpha because you have a line in a story about a fight. And you go, I'll do that because I'm crazy like that.
Yeah.
And like, that's a crazy motherfucker. Like, nobody just says I'm crazy like that for no reason.
I remember scaring the shit out of a friend of mine once. We were driving and this car cut me off like an asshole. And I fucking laid on the horn. And I was like, what the fuck was that? Right. I just laid on the horn thinking, all right, we'd keep going. But then the car turned on an angle and like head was like halfway out the window and like started like yelling some shit. And I had to slam on my brakes. I'm like, what the fuck? And then the car went back and started driving. And my buddy was like, that was crazy. And I'm like, it's going to get crazier. And I stepped on the gas and started riding this guy's ass. And I guarantee I took this guy 6 neighborhoods.
That's a dumb way to get insurance liability. The guy slams on a brake, you rear end him. That's your fault.
Sure. But like I was following him and beeping and yelling shit further out the window. And I know I took him 6 neighborhoods out of his way because he was thinking, I can't go to my actual place. He's following me. And my friend was like, dude, you know what they say? You never know who's in the other car. And I go, exactly. He doesn't know who's in this car. And then I remember this was a good friend of mine. He looked at me like, I always thought you were one way, but you have now crossed over. I knew you were kind of like this, but this is a fucking other level, buddy.
Okay, question for both of you. Have you ever been, have you ever experienced, you said that into the microphone. Have you ever experienced a moment where somebody says something to someone that you're around that's so wrong and so mean to your friend, but it's so fucking funny that you can't help to laugh?
Ooh.
My example. So I was in a car with a friend of mine who's this female, and she's a little bigger, right? fine, very beautiful, and she is driving. She's on her phone. We're trying to find a house party. She's on her phone. I'm in my 20s. She's on her phone, right? She's trying to figure out what's going on, and then it's dark out. She kind of takes a corner, and this guy kind of walks out, and she like stops, but kind of like, you know, could have hit him if she didn't see him. And he looks up. He like sees what happens. He looks up. He sees her. He sees her size. He sees her on the phone, and he goes, "What are you doing? Ordering a fucking pizza?" I laughed so hard. I was like, and I just started doing improv, and I'm like, "You thought of that quickly? How the fuck did you do that?" It was the funniest thing. Where I'm like, "I am so sorry, but that's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life." Like that is. Insane.
Dude, there are some things where it's like, yeah, that was fucking mean, but hilarious.
Yeah.
And I don't want that kind of humor to really go away. Look, I want us to.
Hell no.
Look, so that's why I'm like, when I hear people talking about like the way society should go, I am 100% against bullying. Because here's the thing about bullying. Bullying is when a bunch of people give shit to someone who's not their friend.
Right.
They're going out of their way to make someone's life worse. That's a difference between busting chops. Busting chops is like, this is our buddy and we're fucking with him. That needs to stay because that's like a camaraderie thing. What this guy did, obviously he didn't know her and he was just being a dick. But sometimes those random outbursts are funny because it's
so funny.
Especially since like, yeah, that must have, I'm sure she didn't like that.
No.
But like, she's never going to see that guy again.
Not. And she was very upset with me for being laughing very loud at that.
Oh man, but there are some moments where I'm just like, fuck, I cannot help but laugh a little bit about that. It's mean. Like that show Shoresy I was telling you about.
Yeah. It's
a Hulu show, Shoresy. It's a spinoff of Letterkenny, which is this hilarious Canadian show. And Canadians do a lot of shit talking.
By the way, if you go to Hulu.com/
Let's Get Dumb.
Let's Get Dumb.
Yeah, remember
and you type in Let's Get Dumb.
You'll end up paying $20 a month for
they charge you more.
Yeah, they charge you more. Yeah.
So in Shoresy, they do so much shit talking. And the one thing that really cracked me up is like the guy, you know, he's a hockey player, so he's not that bright. And he makes like these things to try to get his GM of his, it's like minor league hockey, to get these players. And the main GM, I forget her name, is like Nat, and then she's got these two like sidekicks that are like her assistants, and it's so much mean shit talking. And she's like, he's trying to explain something. She's like, start laughing. I'm sorry, but you sound so fucking dumb when you try to be serious. Doesn't he sound like the kid who has to have this desk next to the teacher's desk? You fucking idiot. Oh, by the way, first name start with a capital letter. You stupid fuck. Like, just it's so mean, but it made me cry with laughter. Yeah. And there was another one too where it was like a fat joke. And look. I don't think that you should be making fun of people for being fat and all that. That's mean-spirited and all that. But there are some times where it's like not so much you're making fun of them because they're fat. You're not saying fat people are bad or it's like all this. But it's like anything else. You see one thing and in the heat of the moment, this is real life shit. You have an anger and your anger is, I look at you, what could I summarize to fucking give you some shit? And the one hockey player on the one team was a little chubby. So he's like, why don't you have another baconator, you fat fuck? Yeah. And it just made, I was laughing my ass off.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't want that
Mean's
kind
fun.
of humor. Some mean works.
I did construction for 7 years. Some of the funniest people I've been around.
Yeah, of course.
In my whole life. But also just like, you know, shit wouldn't pass today for anything.
Yeah.
But if you want to have a fucking good laugh, you got to hang around with some insensitive people that just let shit fly.
Have you ever had a girlfriend or a partner that is so mean it's funny?
Yes.
I used to do a joke about it, but like, so I dated this girl who's like one of the meanest people I've ever met. Like impressively mean. Like, and we were shopping like at the mall, and then she like made me put on like a little newsy cap, and she's like, "Oh, you should buy that. It's cute." And I'm like, "I don't like it. I don't think I can pull these hats off." She goes, "You know what? I want to buy it because I think it looks that nice on you." And she never does anything nice like that. And I'm like, "Oh my God, babe, that's really nice. Thank you." And then we get drunk that night, and she gets really mean when she gets drunk. And then we're arguing, and then she like kind of looks me up and down, and I go, "Oh, something mean's coming. I can feel it." And she goes, "Yeah, and you look like a fucking moron in that hat." And I go, "You bought me that hat." She goes, "Yeah, that's why you're a moron, because you fucking trust me." And it's one of those moments where like it was an argument, so I was like, "Okay, let's move this argument over here." And also, as a comedian, that was one of the funniest things you've ever said.
Yeah, Joe, that was more abusive though.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. But it was so funny.
From us busting each other's chops, that came from the heart.
Like, that's why it was so funny. Because I love being shit on, and I'm like, that was. Next, she bought the hat to know that like you're gonna wear that hat, and I'm gonna fucking make fun of you.
I'm loading this clip up.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
All right, let's get to our weekly segment with 10 minutes left in the podcast. We do a weekly segment in which you have to eliminate.
Oh, this one's timed. Holy shit! All right.
Yeah, man, we're pros over here, dude.
Yeah, we're pros.
we are grateful for everyone watching and listening. Thank you for subscribing to the podcast. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on whatever you could follow us on. We really appreciate your support. All right, you have to eliminate one. All right, I'm going to give you 3 things. You have to eliminate one. And whatever you eliminate, the world won't miss because they won't know whatever happened.
Right.
But you can
It's like the movie Yesterday. Did you ever see Yesterday?
That music one?
Yeah.
No.
The Beatles. Okay.
No.
Once you watch the movie, you'll
I'm gonna watch
understand
a movie about a white band.
This is
with
It's-
nothing,
it's actually-
with nothing but brown people in it. Like,
oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I don't relate.
Right.
it's not nothing but brown people in the movie Yesterday. Now we're talking about the movie Yesterday.
Yeah.
See, Jonah does a thing where this is episode 3 and he has to bring up the movie Yesterday every time. And I know he's going to keep it going just to make me mad, but I don't think it's going to be a good thing. So you should stop doing that, please. Thank you very much. All right.
That just makes me want to do it more.
You have to eliminate one of these.
Okay, so in the
3.
movie Yesterday,
I'm
so
going
what
to
happens
punch
is,
you in the
he
fucking
wakes
head,
up
dude.
and well, the Beatles never
He writes a
happened.
Beatles
If I
song.
were there, I would have taken that chair and beaten the shit out of you.
Right,
with it.
but
All
it's
let's-
padded, so it wouldn't hurt that much. So
Hey,
the thing is,
but
like,
hey, I'm sorry. Ask me if you want the chair. Can I have the chair? No. And he picks up the chair and just starts banging over the head with it. It's like,
he's
now
super
you can have
bitch.
it.
Yeah.
So, you have to eliminate one of these 3 things.
Go ahead.
Right? Here are the 3 things to eliminate: video games, pizza, or shit talking. Which of those 3
Pizza.
things? You
really?
eliminate-
Oh,
Wow,
that was
easily.
That was so quick.
Easily.
Because these are all like
Well, you gotta
commutative things, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So all
Yeah.
things that we enjoy around each other.
Yeah. Video games.
Well, show your work. Show why you would eliminate pizza.
Video
of those
games.
3
First
things.
off, the Last of Us series is currently on HBO Max. Is one of the greatest things on TV right now.
great.
And the video game was one of the greatest things in media to ever come out. They need to have.
Is it better than General Chaos for Sega?
Yes.
Okay.
You fucking asshole.
better than Mario Kart.
Yeah, better
Yes.
Mario Kart.
Yes. Look.
Is it better than Kid Chameleon?
Yeah. When that game came out and I played it, there need to be a award for general best media of the year.
Yeah.
I'm talking albums, movies, games, and everything. My fault. I hit the mic. Because that game was the best thing that came out. That storyline was fucking incredible.
Okay, so Joe, do you play video games anymore?
I do, but nothing new. I have a Nintendo
64.
Classic with
Yeah.
like all the games downloaded, so every Nintendo game
So
ever.
the huge thing
and
is
then I
that-
play Xbox a little bit.
Okay, so the thing that has changed a lot, which is Ed is mentioning, is that storyline.
Yeah.
And for me, I want to get into it, but all I'm like, oh, let me skip this fucking bullshit, and I never pay attention.
not?
I know.
Why
I know,
not?
What's wrong with
'Cause
me?
The Last of Us story is so great.
Yeah.
The Last of Us story is so great that the TV show, there's literally episodes like, we're not going to change a fucking word in the script.
Right.
We're just going to keep everything the same because it's
Yeah.
a perfect fucking story.
So as a video game guy, right? Because you love video games. you do.
I do, but I just don't have time to play them.
So what's your thought on when they deviate from the story?
This is why The Last of Us is so great. All right.
Okay.
Resident Evil. Don't know what the fuck they did with that TV show. I have no or that
show.
movie. The movie.
Movie series, yeah.
The movie. I don't know. There's like they took the Umbrella Corporation and that was it, and they changed everything else.
Yeah.
The Last of Us is perfect deviation from the story. Episode 3 of The Last of Us. Slight spoiler alert. Episode 3. The whole episode was based off of one letter you found in the game.
Yeah.
An
Yeah.
hour-long episode was based off of one letter with 3 paragraphs. And they made a whole episode about that.
Yeah.
Deviation, but expansion.
Right.
Oh, this is a whole part of the story we didn't fucking see.
Right.
This is fucking amazing.
So you watched that, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, don't you think that experience would have been better with pizza?
Yeah. You got rid of pizza because you'd rather have video games and shit talking. But real quick,
I can eat Chinese food with that.
That's true. That's
fucking
true.
good
Chinese
point.
food
God, that's a good
is
point.
a close second to communal food. to
No,
pizza.
sushi. Sushi's very communal.
Nah, sushi's more bougie.
Yeah, but nobody
Chinese
orders
food is like
sushi.
yeah.
To
No,
fuck-
yeah,
you
yeah,
go
yeah.
out to dinner to sushi.
You go out to dinner for sushi.
not
Chinese
takeout.
food, you
Oh.
order it to go. Which, by the way, can I tell
Delivery
you
once a
something?
week.
Something that annoys me about movies is when they go order Chinese food and everyone's eating out the boxes.
Yeah.
Who the fuck
That's
does
so
that in
stupid.
real life?
Right.
Everyone's eating out of a box. Do you do that? You fucking psycho.
No, I don't. But
Yeah, you
I can see
share
you
the
do,
sides.
share. You do that with leftovers. If you have leftovers the next day. you
Yeah,
have to
but
wear
no.
it
What I'm
out
talking
the
about,
box.
like a few
Yeah,
good
you
men.
share the
A
side.
few good men. They order Chinese food. One of my favorite movies. They
Yeah.
order Chinese food.
I know the scene. That
and
scene
they're
popped in
all
my head when you
and
said
they're
that.
all eating out the box. I'm like, wait? How
Right.
the fuck is eating
What if
Chinese
they all
food?
got their own individual thing?
Who does that?
Some people do.
You do that. Don't
I
you
don't.
fucking-
I don't order Chinese enough.
Do you share with your
And when I do, it's
significant
just me and
others?
my wife eating
Yeah.
it.
I mean, even if
I always share.
even if I have people over, I'm like, we're gonna order
My
all
wife's
this stuff.
such a picky eater, though. So
Really?
like, she gets what she likes. I get what I like.
Yeah, just picks
we
up
will
the
share
blanket.
some stuff, but no, it's true. She eats like a 7-year-old.
Look at the wrong camera again.
And I used to eat like a 7-year-old till recently, and I've become pretty good with it. But I got to say again, though, you get rid of pizza, and then explain one video game. This one video game is so good, you're eliminating one of the greatest foods on the planet.
Okay, well, that's just one game, right?
Okay.
First off, games are going to get better. They're getting better. Like this fucking Last of Us, right?
Yeah. Are they making a third?
Probably not.
Okay.
Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
That's a new one?
No, old. I'm talking about my whole life.
Oh.
I've never had a pizza make me feel as good as that game.
Really?
I've never had a pizza, and guess what? I know Professor Pizza.
You're telling me pepperoni and banana peppers
My roommate
is better
worked
than
at
that?
Pequod's forever.
Not better than
I've had the best pizza in the world.
Pequod's always overrated, but go ahead.
It's not a
You gotta go
real.
It's a
thin crust.
Chicago
You gotta go thin crust.
institution.
Fucking
You
great.
gotta go thin crust. You gotta go
I
thin
guess
crust.
I'll
Thin
try
crust
it,
is better than thick
Tavern
crust.
style.
I like thin crust tavern style better. The best pizza, I'm looking right in the camera for this. The best pizza in the United States of America is Chicago tavern style thin crust.
Agreed.
Okay?
100%. What's your
The
favorite?
best.
What's your favorite place?
Michael's? No, Michael's is great, but I like Pete's the best. Pizza on Montrose.
Pizza's good.
Pete's
Is great.
Yeah.
I like Pat's. I like
Oh,
Michael's.
no,
There's a
wait.
lot of great ones.
Pat's is the best. Pat's is the best. I'm like,
Pat's,
Wait, what do I
Pat's,
work for?
I'm a big sausage guy, and I don't love Pat's sausage as
Okay.
much. Their
Well,
pepperoni.
I always do- I
all
always
these
do
pizza
pepperoni.
We're going all this.
places-
Maria's is great.
Okay, yeah, you're right too.
Marie's, I
Wait,
mean.
real quick, let me reiterate.
All right,
to
let's
people.
go back to the main thing. Sorry.
Tavern style pizza in Chicago is for sure the way to go. Thick crust is just a fucking novelty thing.
Yeah.
And I've had all those pizzas though, but I've never had a pizza that made me feel like the end of Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Did you cry?
Or even Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past.
Ed, look at me.
Or Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker.
No, look at me.
Huh?
Did you cry?
I cried at The Last of Us Part 2.
Did you?
Yes.
I heard
at
as a
one
crier.
point.
Yeah.
At one point in that game, something happens. I teared up.
Okay,
No
next.
pizza has ever made me feel that way.
Yeah.
No pizzas that have ever made me feel the joy of my boys getting their ball busted to a point where I have to leave the fucking place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No pizza has ever done that. Chinese food could kind of fulfill a little. It's not gonna fulfill it for sure, fully, but it's gonna get the job done. Where I'm
Yeah.
like, all right, cool. Pizza's a great communal thing. We're in the best pizza place to sit in the world to me.
Agreed.
I've had all the pizzas, but
All right,
you know what?
he
You're
showed
making
his
a good
work.
point. Yeah,
He's
yeah.
making a good
Yeah.
point. You know what I mean? But like, I just love fucking pizza, so I find it hard to get rid of that. Video games are a lot of fun too, but I go in waves with them.
once again, yeah, you're not.
And I love shit talking, so I feel like I would eliminate video games because you could shit talk during other games. And you talk about great storylines. I mean, there's television shows that have great storylines that don't have a game. I guess this was one of our better eliminate ones because there's something that means something
Also,
different to everybody. There's
to
not
me-
an obvious, get rid of that shit.
To me, historically, like you aren't a big video game person,
I'm not the biggest.
and
I
don't
like
think
it.
were you?
And I don't think you ever have been.
No, I don't think I ever
Yeah.
had, but I'll tell you the story. When I was like
Yeah.
in third grade, I got like my first like bad grade, or I got in trouble for messing around in school. So my dad was like, "Well, no Super Nintendo." And
I had the same fucking problem.
and then he took it away, and I just got over it.
Oh.
Instead of being, that was the thing. I remember I was talking
See,
about this.
that's
when-
different from me. I got my grades up. I had
For
the
that
same thing
reason.
happen. Yeah, my Super Nintendo got took away from me. I'm like, well, fuck. I'm at the third part. I forgot what game. I think it was Super Mario RPG I was playing. I'm like, well, I'm almost done with this game. Let me go ahead and
Yeah.
actually study for a little bit and get
Yeah.
my grades back up and get this game back just so I could beat it. And my grades hit the tank again right after I was done with the game.
I'll do that thing where I'm like, you know what? I used to be huge into video games when I was a kid, and I'm like, I'm still into them, and I'll buy a game and I'll play it for like 30 minutes. I'm like, oh, too much fucking story. I just want to play. And then, but I forget that you have to work past that, and then it's good.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
I played 3 or 4 days a week, but I play like
You
I
do?
played Dr. Mario.
Yeah, he
Dude,
plays like
old
the-
school.
Yeah.
I play like
basic
Mario
shit,
Kart.
yeah.
I had
Yeah.
Nintendo Mario Kart. Remember, I bought that GoldenEye, but it's Mario Kart characters.
Yes.
There's a special mod that someone in Japan did. So you're playing
have that?
GoldenEye. Yeah, I have that. Remember, I brought it over to your house, but I got too drunk and blacked out before we could set it up.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I remember that.
And was
Yeah,
that when
I
you
threw
closed
up-
the
I threw up
cabinets?
all over the house.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
I was
closed
there
the
that night.
cabinets to the Phil Collins in the Air of the Night
It was,
song, and I was off beat.
Joe had the night off.
I threw up. all
Joe
over
had
the
the night.
place.
His wife was like, "I'll watch the kids. You go have fun with your friends."
Yeah.
And I've never seen you so unhinged in my life like that. We all like took a shot of Jameson.
Yeah.
Mhm. You
So-
took the bottle.
And you took the bottle,
Yeah.
and you held it there for a long time.
Yeah.
College.
That's
Joe.
when I was like,
Long
"Whoa,
time.
this is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I christened your house by puking all over the
You
place.
puked
man.
everywhere.
Well, that's
I bet that's what made you get your house remodeled. Like I
Yeah,
can't
I
have
can't
any.
have
I gotta
this.
just tear.
That's when
everything
I was
down.
like, hey, we're going to fuck this house up. We do it now. We do it now.
destroy
Yeah.
this place before I put money into it. Well, Ed, dude, thank you so much for being on the podcast. That was
No
a
problem.
fucking blast. Tell everyone where they could follow you.
Follow me on Instagram at EdTowns, EDTOWNS. Of course, if you're in the city, comedians you should know every Wednesday. Blackout Diaries every Friday. Trigger Warning Open Mic, which is I still plug that because it's still an event every Monday at what's that bar called?
I don't know. It's your fucking mic.
Cedric Stop on Mondays. Cedric Stop on Mondays. What's that called? Timothy O'Toole's on Wednesdays. Jonah's Furnace right now, and then
I turned it up to
every
turn on.
Friday at the Lincoln Lodge Blackout Diaries.
There you go. You could just follow him on Instagram. And
Just
probably
follow me on
gotten all that
Instagram. Yeah, follow me on
information.
Instagram, and then all the information should be there.
You know where to follow us. I'll put the links in the description on both YouTube and on the podcast, wherever you may listen, whether it's Apple, Google Play, Spotify, whatever you got. Thank you for checking out Let's Get Dumb. I'm Joe Kilgallon. That's
Jonah Jurkens.
you guys are the best. Cheers.